UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I am your werewolf. Here we are on Thursday, and today we're talking about reading. I have with me the man, the legend, the man of the hour, Samuli Olki. And you heard that correct, folks. I said his name correctly this time. Take it away,
Yes, you did.
Samuli.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. You did say
You
it
sound a bit
correctly
muffled
indeed.
there.
Okay, is
You
this
sound,
any better?
yeah, it's a lot better. This is
Cool.
why we do. This is why we do pre-prep, guys, so we can make sure we don't have no technical difficulties or any vocal difficulties. Now I got tongue tied, so that's vocal difficulties right there. Anyways, before we even begin, and before I even tell you what we're going to be doing today, we're going to introduce our wingmen right now. The Maverick Hunter Saint Brian Gilmartin with his "Hey guys." We have the Schooner of the Tuna, Schooner Tuna, with his hello. We have Samuli Olki with his hello and greetings. And we have Melissa Harris. I believe she is sticking with us today. We have 4 people today. Identify yourselves, not kidding. I'm pretty sure we're going to have more people here anyways. But we're going to talk about reading, guys. And two type of famous authors, Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft, which Sammy Lee has been wanting to talk about for a while. He's been waiting for this day, and have set this up, and here we are now. So, Sammy Lee, tell me why the interest in Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft. What was the fascination? What was the interest in their books and these writers themselves? Go ahead.
Well, basically, I only got started on both of them 2 years ago. Well, Howard actually, late 2019. I think it was August. Mostly it was thanks to a good friend of mine. She basically gave me the push. I mean, we got to talking, and it came out that she's a big fan of specifically the Conan tales, and at first I thought, oh, that sounds not cool. Maybe I should check out some of the comics at first, and but then I really just decided what the heck, I've had a really long pause in reading actual books, several years, like
You got
properly
muffled
reading.
again, Sammy Lee.
Ah, damn, sorry. But yeah, basically, I
You're wrestling with
wanted
that
to.
mic there. You doing all right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
just making sure.
yes, but I wanted to give a shot at reading some actual books because I've just had a really long pause I was so many years without actually reading any literature. So yeah, I mean, my friend was she encouraged me quite a lot to take a look at the original stories, and yeah, at first I was like slightly intimidated by that, how old these books were and how well would I actually be able to get into them. But yes, that didn't really prove to be a problem. Like, I read the first few stories, and I was with the Conan mythos and was really just sucked in immediately. I mean, it's really quite something how well Howard can describe things in a few sentences, the world building, the characters. I mean, there's so much stuff packed in just one paragraph that so many modern authors aren't able to express things in any way the same level of effectiveness. So yeah, my interest in Howard and Lovecraft both is quite recent.
What's your take on the Conan movies, from the
Well,
Barbarian to Destroyer and the 2010 remake? If you did see the
Well,
2010 remake.
I did, yes. Unfortunately, I mean, or unfortunately, but it's while I do enjoy the Arnold movies on the 2011 movie, it's they have some good sides to them, and like the other movies, they are enjoyable movies on their own. But it's really the Conan in mostly name only adaptation. There's some quite significant changes to the original tales. One
Right.
with the Arnold movies, the one key difference is that Conan being a slave, that never happens in the original stories, and Conan being a slave, uh, that goes against everything about the character. Really, I mean, Conan would die sooner than being a slave. Yes,
Exactly.
basically. Yeah, never. And yeah, and the whole also the movies mostly leave out the Conan's sense of humor, which he does have. Like it's not a really a he has this dry, even morbid sense of humor that doesn't come out all the time. But I mean, it's there definitely, and the Arnold movies really do not exhibit that. So it's not he has he has this gigantic mirth about him in the Howard stories, definitely. As they say that he's a very complex character with many complex emotions.
And I dread if they ever try to even tackle Conan again in this day and age. I don't think they're gonna get the nuance there. They
No,
just think
never.
big guy with big sword and the worst at worst they will put a female in the story and shove him to the side when the movie or the story of the book is titled Conan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was willing to overlook that with Mad Max Fury Road because at the end of the day, it still had Max at the forefront leading the charge. Like, yeah, Furiosa's story was concluded at the end, and Max basically just disappears at the end of the movie. But it's still his story to tell. He's he's an observer of the world building in that movie. But the movie does not forget that the movie is called Mad Max. So we're still following
Yes.
Max as Max the Observer, especially the observer of Furiosa's story. So I hate how they would not even at least attempt to do that with Conan. At least like still tell his story, but also at the same time tell another person's story while him being the observer.
Yeah, there are a couple of there's a how was I there's this very good Conan story, the Beyond the Black River, where basically Conan gets a sidekick who, and you see most of the story through this young guy's eyes, basically, who's following Conan around most of the time. Yeah, it's one of the better ones, definitely. But yes, Conan does play a big role in it, and then towards the end of the story, it kind of shifts over to Conan's point of view. But yes, that just immediately popped into my mind.
Well, at least let's hope he doesn't sing "Toss your coin to your Conan, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of
Yeah.
plenty."
Oh yeah, I didn't bother with the Witcher series at all.
No, don't get me wrong. That song is very catchy.
It is really
I,
catchy.
if you will, I'll share you my thoughts on that show so far of what I've seen. Um, First of all, I said I did not need to see another black person every freaking 5 minutes of that freaking show. just to show that they had supposedly black folk in this purportedly European setting, which is, from what I heard from the Witcher series, it's not really like our world. It's just a different planet
No,
altogether.
it's not our world. No.
I learned that
Yes.
through Rawis. Rawis had said, I was like, wait, hold up. You mean to tell me that the Witcher is taking place on an alien planet? What the hey? And they still use magic and swords? Interesting. But we're getting a bit off topic, so let's get
Yeah.
back on topic.
Yeah.
Speaking of yeah. Tell me what your thoughts on the 2010 remake. How'd you felt about that one, especially with Jason Momoa being the lead actor of Conan?
Well, he definitely looks more like Conan than Arnold ever did. That's one plus, and but yeah, the writing is really not much better at all. Yeah, I think the writing is definitely worse. Yes, with that one, and the finale is extremely disappointing and anticlimactic. I mean, whatever the wizard's name is, I forget. I mean, he gets the mask and he just he doesn't really do anything, and then he just kind of dies. I mean, it's really nothing, not a nothing burger.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you have freaking smoking hot at the time Rose McGowan as a evil sorceress with Electric Complex. How did you mess that up?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I was watching it from the beginning, and I was really confused about the whole battle sequence in the beginning because me being a purist with the Schwarzenegger films, that was my only template to look at this movie from. And the thing is that when I saw it, I'm like, what the heck is this kid being born on the battlefield? We got a new person with us, Song W. Erickson.
Oh yes, she is actually the person who got me into reading all these great stories.
All right.
Nice of you to drop by.
Welcome her, everyone. This is definitely a treat today. We have a friend of Samuli joining us as well, and I like her comment about the Momoa movie. She says Momoa was great. The script was crap. I agree. Momoa, I would agree with you as well, Samuel. Momoa did definitely look like Conan, especially when they did the promotional trailers with him standing on top of the hill, like just like the Frazetta artwork. If you remember the Frazetta artwork, are you familiar with Frank
Yes.
Frazetta?
Yes. Yeah. Seen it.
My inspiration. But yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, there were many good elements with. It's been a while since I saw the movie, but like I guess visually, I mean, they were mostly good. I think I've only seen it. It's been several years, really. I don't remember that much about it. I mean, wait, good things. I mean, visuals were good. The action scenes, I guess, decent, really, but it really says that I forgot most of the movie after I left the theater. Really, I don't
So remake
I don't.
does though. That's the problem with watered down remakes is that it's the same it's the same how I felt about the RoboCop remake. I'm sorry, it wasn't 2010. Both movies were 2011, I think. RoboCop was also 2011, right?
Yes,
Or
I think
2012.
so. Yes, that one was very neutered.
I'm just perplexed at the fact that I'm sitting here and I'm watching it out of curiosity. I'm just like, wow, they've totally missed the mark with that film. But back to Conan, I think I can help you out here. Action wise, I think Conan does a little bit of side flipping to my liking. That was weird. He spins his sword around too much.
Yeah, that might be the case. You might have this in more fresh memory than I do. Uh, I remember about the I remember the sea battle, and I remember him fighting those sand mummy things.
Yeah, a tentacle.
But what one thing I do have to give the movie credit for is that they at the start with when they have young Conan fighting the other tribe. I mean that seems really good, that fight, and the kid that who plays Conan. Yeah, the kid who plays young Conan is, I mean, damn, that was some really good stuff. That's probably the best part of the movie.
He did some really good stunt work. I was just not feeling that one though. That's the problem with me. I was not really feeling the action in that one because I'm just like, so the object of the game is for them to get a freaking just like get through the forest with an egg in your mouth and not drop the egg and not let the egg crack. Okay, I guess he passed then.
Yeah,
because he spit out. You know, I mean, he, not only that, he killed some potential invaders. As a kid, I'm like, okay, this is getting too ridiculous. And then on top of that, the egg didn't crack in his mouth. Okay. I mean, like I said, it's different to my taste because again, the template was the Arnold Schwarzenegger films. But other than that, like, yeah, I like that they did. I will give the movie this. They did get the look right. Like you got naked women in the background, which I wasn't really expecting that, but I spot that detail. I was like, huh, they're topless, just like in the Frazetta artwork. Nice.
Yeah.
Again, not that I was looking for that in a Conan film, but like when I saw that detail, I was like, oh, this is not going to be a PG-13 movie then. Cool. Because I was really worried there. Because yeah, when they announced it, I was like, oh, don't tell me this is going to be a PG-13 like this is going to be the Mummy, but with a Conan paint on it.
Yeah. About what was I going to say? I kind of lost my train of thought. Need to catch it up a little bit. And also, yes, one thing about the Momoa movie again with the whole thing at the start where Conan says something along the lines of "No man should live in chains." That's really not what Conan is like in the books at all. I mean, slaves, they are just a thing in the world of Conan. I mean, he doesn't really have anything against people keeping slaves, so it's just a thing that they do. It's perfectly normal for there to be slaves. I mean, really, it's not something he's opposed to.
Yeah.
Or most anyone it really is opposed to. It's just it's basically as common as sliced bread. Yeah, they're slaves. That's one thing that really they changed a lot.
What was your take on the Destroyer?
The Destroyer, that I don't remember that as well as the first movie. I've only seen it once, and that was probably over 10 years ago. I remember having fun with it, but as the details escape me, unfortunately.
You're going to be also. I guess this is where I have to throw in my knowledge of it too, because that one was more of a. If you liked, let me ask you this: did you like Ghostbusters 2, or did you ever see Ghostbusters 2?
I did. I've seen it a couple of times. I remember enjoying it decently as well.
Because I know
it's been a while.
yeah, the main talk about Ghostbusters was always that not it's it's assumed that everybody hated Ghostbusters too. It, it, I make up the other majority that actually liked Ghostbusters 2. I can't really say the same for Conan the Destroyer because I still make no mistake, I did enjoy Destroyer, but I can see its shortcomings and why people don't like Destroyer. So if I had to give Conan the Destroyer a comparison, it would be the Ghostbusters 2 situation. Only difference is that Conan the Destroyer actually does do something different with his entry. Unlike a lot of people's issue with Ghostbusters 2 is that they claim that it's the same thing like the first Ghostbusters, which is no, it's not. It's different. Yeah, they do hit the same kind of story beats in a way, but the situation is wholeheartedly different. There's no Gozer situation again this time around. It's actually just somebody else, and of course they don't necessarily have to fight something large. Instead, they bring something large in to fight the supreme being of that
Yeah,
entry. So I tend to roll my eyes when I say that. It's like it's basically Ghostbusters all over again. No, it's not. If anything, if you really want to make that comparison, it's Ghostbusters in reverse. Let's just go with that. It's Ghostbusters in
yeah,
reverse, which how is that a point of criticism? That's like that's the most cleverest thing you could ever do with a sequel. But I'm driving away from the talk of Conan. Conan 2 Destroyer. It's still violent as all hell, but you can kind of see that they were trying to go with a family friendly look to it, like the group that he travels with. They're basically
yeah.
Saturday morning cartoon superheroes at this
Y-
point, or at least.
Yes, and
Go ahead.
actually now I remember the fight with the stupid lizard monster with the red cape in the cavern. Yes, that was. Yeah, yeah. It's coming back to me now more. Yeah, it's that really was just ill-advised. Yeah, that whole part of the movie. Yeah, yeah,
he's he, he's basically a speedo gorilla with the red cape.
yeah, yeah. And
I like I
I
like how
mean,
I like how he's constantly banging his braces.
yeah, yeah, and the whole thing just goes on for way too long, and with him
Yeah.
stuck to Conan's back and Arnie just screaming. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's too much. Yes,
It's like it's yeah. It's like it's basically just it's almost like Home Alone in a Conan movie in a way, except without the traps. So like you got enemies just chasing after the band, and you just got that again. You got that one guy who's just basically a guy in a spiel just banging his braces when every time he has to do magic all of a sudden, and then when it boils down to the boss fight, he literally becomes Speedo Gorilla. And I'm just sitting here just like enjoying it as a kid. I even mimic that hand gesture he does, but at the same time, it's like you get those quiet bits, and again, it turns into Saturday morning stuff. You
yes,
know, like the whole how do you lure a man? I was like Grace Jones. I was like Grace Jones. Grace Jones. Advice. I take him. You take him.
Yeah.
Yes, I take him. I'm like, that's my lady Grace Jones.
uh,
We have Big Al in the house. Everybody, we have Big Al again. Join us again. He was here on Tuesday. Now he's here on Thursday. And he says so many years of bad luck for Conan. I want to see. You know what? I would have loved to see third Conan movie. I would have loved to see Old Man Conan. You
Yeah,
remember that
that's
last
never going.
image? Oh, it's
Yeah,
never
I
gonna happen.
remember, but that's never gonna happen. And it's personally, I think that the further away any mainstream movie studio stays away from Howard, or the better, really, any of his works. I mean, it's yeah, a movie. If have you seen the Solomon Kane movie by any chance?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, but unfortunately, that's also another case where the adaptation is really in name only. They changed so
Hmm.
much about the character. Basically, I mean, already the whole thing about Solomon Kane being some merciless pirate uh, captain. I mean, that's a complete
Yeah, that was
betrayal of the
confusing.
character already. Yes, that's the furthest thing that Kane is. Basically, he's this absolutely fanatical uh, avenger of the innocent, and the slayer of the evil, any kind of evil that comes to his path. I mean, he just wanders around the earth without
Oh,
any
we're
kind
gonna
of,
get to that song. We're definitely
yeah.
gonna get to that. I gotta admit, I do enjoy Call the Conqueror, but I know it's hilariously bad.
Oh yes,
Continue what
I've heard about.
continue what you're saying about Kane. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Continue what you're
yeah,
saying about Kane.
yes, yeah. It's the whole thing with. I mean, all Howard adaptations. I mean, Cole, Kane, and Conan. I mean, they really just Hollywood always needs to insert this some tragic or tragic backstory, or needless love interest, like with Cull, basically, because Cull in the stories it's stated that he doesn't have any interest in relationships based at all. I mean, he's all about his all his drive and energy. It's towards his other passions, or basically him ruling Atlantis, or no, not Atlantis, but I mean, okay, my mind completely broke there. I mean, damn it. Yeah, yeah, that's what song says. Yes, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, he knows. He knows that when a woman is beautiful, basically. I mean, he can understand that. I mean, it just does nothing for him, really. He's,
He's
I mean,
celibate in a way.
yeah, yeah, yes, but with what was I going to say about Kane? Kane, yes, him having the tragic backstory with the pirate past and his uh, family, estranged family. I mean, that never comes into play in the stories. I mean, he doesn't really have much of a backstory. He's just Solomon Kane, but Hollywood always feels the need to insert some kind of
Because they
cliched
think the audience is
backstory.
stupid.
Yes, and yeah, they completely removed Call's best friend and right man hand, Brule the Spear Slayer, from the movie. I mean, yeah, I mean,
And replaced him
they're really,
with Lightfoot or what's his name from Indian the Cover, or at least he was Nightwolf from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That man needs a better agent.
oh yeah, okay, I don't really know. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't. I trust it when people say that it's bad, because yeah, there's overwhelming evidence to that point. But yeah, it's basically yeah, removing Brule from Call. Yeah, I mean that's they're basically this they really classic two-man team. But basically, Call is the brooding, stoic one, and Brule's kind of a bit different. Basically, he's the uh, well, I mean, it's not really. How should I put this?
they balances out each other out really well. Yeah.
Now,
But
now I said we were going to get into a little bit of Call. One thing I liked about that movie was when he chopped down the laws with the axe, because it's Kevin Servo and he can do that. You remember that at
yeah,
the end?
I haven't seen the movie. Sorry.
Oh, you haven't seen Call the Conqueror? So
No,
there.
no, I haven't. No, sorry.
So by the way, you're still coming off muffled there.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, no, I only recently learned that there even was a movie about Carl, but yeah,
And Song eloquently put it: "By this axe I rule. You don't like it. You come take the throne." And again, it was I love that line because it's freaking Kevin Servo, fresh fresh off of Hercules and Legendary Journeys, and I'm just like, yes, that's the way I want to live. It's if ever I had to rule my own house or rule my own kingdom figuratively,
yes,
I'm like
it
like
is.
people like you can't enforce rules on that. Like by this fist I rule. You don't like how I run my ship? Come take the throne and
It is.
cue everybody just.
It is a really good story. That by this axe I rule. Yes, it definitely. If you need to understand why Carl is such a great character as well. I mean, that's one story you should read. Absolutely, the line is.
That the base
It's
of
a
that line is
cool
just
line,
telling
but
I'm gonna serve my manhood.
yeah, well, it is very, very much that when you read the story. Yes, it's such a good scene. It's at the very end of the story, but oh yes, such a great line, and I should probably also mention that it's basically it's that Cole story. It's basically was adapted later as a Conan story by the name of Phoenix on the Sword. It's almost exactly the same, very near the same story, really. But the Call version is better. There's a bit more of a there's this side plot to it, basically about the Call. Well, actually, it's tied. It's not really even a side plot. It's very much they cut that completely off the Conan version, really. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
by this actual rule, it's definitely the better of the two. And yeah, it's often said that you can see that Carl was kind of a prototype of Conan, but the two characters are quite different, really. Carl doesn't really have that. Carl is much more brooding and stoic than Conan, and Conan has his. One of the key differences is that there's this one story where Carl actually does offer up his own life in defense of another one, and well, with Conan, you would never get that. So Conan would never offer to die without a fight, basically. So that's another good detail to mention.
Hmm. What is best in life?
Yeah, that line, yeah, it's a really good line, but I mean that never come. Howard didn't write it. Yeah, that was made for the
Right.
movie. It does sound like something that Howard might have written, but no. I mean, everybody says that line.
Yeah. I had to I had to ask. So I'm asking the expert here, the expert in these books. So I had to ask, and I figured it wasn't there, but it sounds so good to be there, right?
Yeah, I mean, there were. It's not like there weren't any great Conan lines to put in the movie. It's some really iconic ones, but really, it is what it is. Yeah.
Do you think Thulsa Doom was also in name only in that movie?
Actually, Thulsa Doom, it only appears once in the Howard works, and he appears. It's in a Cull story, not in a Conan story. It's the Cull story is called Del Carde's cat, really. But I mean, and that's the only time that Thulsa Doom appears in person. He's this undead. He's this undead sorcerer who's one of the biggest threats to Cull's empire. But no, I don't know really. It's a very brief appearance, and yeah, I guess they needed an enemy for Conan in the first Schwarzenegger movie, but yeah, he wasn't. He was never originally Conan's enemy.
Right.
Uh,
But they
yeah,
sold it though. I will say that they sold well, especially with James Earl Jones being the actor to portray Thulsa Doom. Now, you said Thulsa was a Cull enemy. Did in the Cull books? Do we get more? Obviously, we get more of him, right? What's he like in the books?
No, no. That's that. He only appears very briefly in person in that one story, so that's all we get from him. Yeah, that Song mentions in the chat that Cull wasn't really doing well profit-wise, so that's why Howard created Conan. So that's one thing I kind of regret or feel a little bit bad about, that I really like the Cull stories, and I really like Solomon Kane stories as well. I mean, actually, I think Solomon Kane is my equal to Conan for me, but Conan was the big seller, so therefore we get Cull and Kane kind of were left off.
Sorry, I'm blanking on what question I was going to ask.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time, but it's I guess that one appearance that Thulsa Doom does have, it's a great scene. He's just very dramatic, and he does seem genuinely very dangerous and imposing, but I do wish there was more of him.
And, especially if you met James Earl Jones in real life, knowing full well he played that character, you would not get that impression of him. Let alone the voice of Darth Vader, of course. And that would have been one of my dream things to have done was to meet James Earl Jones himself one of these days. But that's only a fleeting dream at this point. Other than that, like I will say this. Speaking of Conan the Barbarian and Thulsa Doom, I always harken back to that one scene where he has an audience with Conan after Conan rates his orgy chamber, and just like basically just crashed the party there already, and right after they attempted to rob and kill the guardian snake, right?
Yeah.
And of course, everybody, I think there's a lot of lines that people love in that one scene, but I think a lot of people love this one scene where that one line where he says to Conan after Conan, berates him for raiding his village and killing his mother and father, and Thulsa says, "Must have been a time in my youth when steel mattered more to me than jewels." And it's like that's basically for me. It was Tuesday line to Conan. That's how people read it.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
He's like the real. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just thought mentioning that I see Matthew Flynn in the chat saying I would love to hear James Earl Jones' Skeletor. Actually in the Cull story, Thulsa Doom is this the undead skull-faced sorcerer, really. So yeah, that's he. Yeah, like he's full on undead in the story.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get into the comments when we hit the. We're
Oh
getting
yeah,
close
yeah,
to
yeah.
the. In the next 10 minutes, we'll get into the comments so we can pick apart, and then we'll move on to Lovecraft. If you want to move on to Lovecraft,
Yeah, yeah. Anytime you,
actually,
anytime you
no,
want to.
we got enough
Yeah, yeah,
times, so
yeah.
we can still
There's
hang on
lot.
to Howard. We can
Yeah,
still hang
yeah.
on a little
There's
bit, Howard.
yeah. There's lots to say. Basically, I mean, when it comes to Howard, most people, of course, they mention Conan first, and some people know about Solomon Kane, and then there's Cull, basically, which. Yeah, I mean it's because of the Arnold movies, yeah, basically, but nobody really talks about the other characters, and even then they only speak about the movies, not the original stories. I mean, many people probably don't even know that there's these really good original tales. But aside from those three characters, I mean, he wrote a whole lot of other stuff as well. One I absolutely have to recommend is the Crusade era stories, which are there's really not any many recurring main characters there, but it's this collection of Crusade era stories. Really, quite. It's more historical fiction. Really, there's no supernatural elements or such, but really
Like the
good
movie
stuff
did.
there. Sorry.
Like the movie did with Solomon Kane. That there was a bit of a mystical element to it. Like
Oh
he
yes,
was basically
but
they kind of made him like Batman in that movie a
yeah, but
bit.
the Solomon Kane, I wasn't. Yeah, but when I said Crusade era, I
Crusader.
mean that's a different Crusade era stories and Middle Age. But the Solomon Kane, that's not a part of it. Solomon Kane definitely has supernatural elements in the original
Okay.
stories. Yes, but yeah, I mean the historical fiction. I mean that's a whole different thing with Howard. I mean he did like those. There are other stories that do not have anything supernatural about them. They're pretty firmly in the real world. But yeah, what was I going to say? But Howard also wrote straight up horror stories, uh, and yeah, really enjoyed many of those as well. And then there's also this another character I want to mention. It's called El Borak. It's basically called El Borak and Other Desert Adventures. It goes by that name, the collection I have. But it's this basically it's a Western story, but it takes place in Afghanistan. If that makes any sense. But yeah, it's follows this adventurer called El Borak, he's an American who is basically he's an adventurer / mercenary in the Afghanistan region. I think it's like at the start of 19 something, 1920. Yeah, probably around those times. But yeah, he's a bit of a combination of the Clint Eastwood's The Man with No Name and Indiana Jones. More, more of the first than the second, but yeah, he's this really tough as nail survivalist mercenary guy who just he like most of Howard's characters, he just has this wanderlust and need for danger and adventure in his soul, and it's just in his blood to he can't stay still ever. He has to go forward, whatever tomorrow brings, forever moving forward. But yeah, that's one of also my favorite
Hmm.
collections. So El Borak, I'll write it in the chat. So
Yeah,
uh,
do it for the people in the chat and for everyone basically, whoever comes at the back watch.
it's good to write this down, Mace. Yeah, might not be pronouncing them correctly, but yes,
Yeah,
uh,
I'll look it up
yeah,
real quick. El Borak. They got a movie out with it too.
I don't think there is. I've never really looked it up. I don't. No, I'm pretty sure there
Oh
isn't.
no, never mind. Never mind. It's unrelated.
Yeah.
I just looked up. It's unrelated. Oh, I do remember seeing the cover art for this.
Okay.
Yep, I caught.
Yeah. There's.
Yeah, I caught a glimpse of it a few times. Yeah, yeah. I might have to check this one out too. One of
Oh
these
yes, and
days.
the historical story collection is called Sword Woman and Other Historical Tales. Really, and it's uh, yeah, just writing it down here. Sword Woman, Other Historical Adventures. Uh, and that the historical adventures collection. It's also the one where you can find the two kind of pretty notable female character creations of Howard. It's or one of many, couple of many. Like there are others, but the original Red Sonja, not the one from the Marvel comics and other places. It's that uh, Red Sonja never appears in Conan stories. Really, she was basically, I guess you could say, transported into the comics by Marvel. So that's the original character is quite similar in many ways to what the Conan comics have portray her as. But yeah, I mean I am not totally familiar why they did that, but I mean I guess the reason is obvious. They needed someone a good foil for Conan, so there
Yeah.
you have it. And then there's the titular sword woman, Dark Agnes. She actually does have more than one story in the collection, so that's and yeah, it's spelled differently, like as
Yeah, I
Sonia.
saw it.
So, yeah, that and but if I want to go through some of my favorite stories with Conan, I mean, everybody or most people will say that the Queen of the Black Coast with another very famous female character, Baylit. Baylit. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I realize now it might be kind of going wrong, but yeah, Baylit. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how much I should say without spoiling. It really is worth checking out these on your own. But yes, Queen of the Black Coast, and then there's the only novel-length story that Howard wrote. It's a Conan story called The Hour of the Dragon. It's a really, really good one. I've read it a couple of times and I've listened to the audio 3 times now, but it's basically it's a best of compilation of the best of Conan, really. I mean, the elements that are in it, definitely worth it. What else would be my? Oh yes, then there's of course the Beyond the Black River. That's a really good one, and
You want to take
did I
you want
already
to take a
say?
break and get into the comments real quick, Samuli?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I could go on with this, but yes. Oh yeah, and I do have to mention the People of the Black Circle. Oh yeah, that's such a great one. Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
dangerous.
it is very dangerous. Yeah, such an awesome story. But yes, let's go to the comments. Yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah. Schooner Tuna says, you know what they say, the older the book is, the more powerful they resonate resonate in the present. Right, Martin follows up with him as says, yep, oldies but goodies, as they say. He also says that if how modern writers handle Batman's any indication, they'll just reduce Conan to another murder, kill type anti-hero with mental issues. Did they try to do that with? Didn't they try to do that with the 2011 version? Somebody will correct me in the comments.
Yeah, someone who has it in fresh memory. I really do not.
Schooner says, ironically, we would not have The Witcher if not for Conan. Yeah, it's true. Along with I think Tarzan followed after that too. At some point, or maybe they were made exactly the same time, around the same era. Song says, "Mama was." Oh wait, I read that. Song says, Momoa would have been a perfect Conan if he had been given good material. That is true. Melissa Harrison Son says she loved classic Conan books. Heck yeah. Hey Matthew, by the way. I know you're here a long time ago, but hey. Song says, I remember seeing the Conan trailer when I saw Thor. Yeah, I'm beginning to miss the theaters and missing, anticipation of new movies in a theater before you see the movie. Wouldn't you agree, Samuli? That experience.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I spoke a little fast. I'm sorry. I was talking about how in the movie theater, when you were anticipating the movie that you're going to see, there was a trailer for it. I mean, a trailer to it of a movie that you didn't know was actually coming out. Don't you miss that experience?
You mean a movie theater experience, or
in a trailer, like a new trailer before you watch a movie? Like you go to, let's just say you go to see Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's go with that. You're going to see Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's a trailer to Pacific Rim Uprising come and that's what I mean. Like you see a trailer to a movie that's being made or that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months or so. I kind of miss that experience.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I get what you mean now, but I just kind of lost most of my interest towards modern mainstream movie industry these days, really, save for a few notable exceptions. That I do remember the feeling of seeing this really cool trailer to, like you said, maybe to a movie that I didn't even know was coming out. That oh damn, I need to see that one. Yeah, I do remember what that. Yes.
I remember seeing Titan AE's teaser. I think we went to see Small Soldiers at that time. I'm not sure because I could be getting the dates wrong, but I remember seeing the teaser to Titan AE, and that shook me because the only imagery you saw in that teaser was Earth blowing up, and then you see the ship the ship Titan taking off, and that was all you had to go from. And then, of course, the next trailer came out. Then you got more exciting scenes of that movie. And, of course, you got Lit's "I Am Over My Head" playing in the background. So, yeah, I'm just saying, I'm starting. It's been a long time since I've been to the movie theater, which we all know in this current spot in our history right now, it's near impossible. Hopefully, there's a
Yeah.
theater open near me, so I can go see Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong. But Skonatuna says Khal Drogo was more Conan than Conan.
Yeah, that feels quite accurate from what I remember about. I saw the first two seasons of Game of Thrones. Kind of fell off after that.
I will say this: you are spared, sir. You are very spared from.
Yeah,
what
I
came
know
after.
enough. I know enough about the finale to. Yes, I know exactly what I was spared of. Yes.
Song says, "Sea battle, but we get a boring princess love interest instead of Belet or Belit."
Belit. Yes, yes. One of the. Yeah, that would have been so much better if they would have gone with Belit. The probably the greatest love of Conan's life, and yes, it's a really good, really tragic story. Really, when you get to it, yeah, absolutely, yes, very powerful stuff, and there's actually a good bit of philosophy there as well. I mean, actually, there's quite a bit of philosophy in many Conan stories, and that's another misconception that, yeah, like it was mentioned that they think that Conan is this murder happy muscle head only, but yeah, there's quite a bit of deep stuff in many of the tales. So it's as often the truth is much more complex than what people think it is. And Queen of the Black Coast definitely has some of the best stuff when it comes to that.
Yes. Yes. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, if it had been Bailey, yeah, that would have improved the movie by a huge deal if they would have gotten a decent portrayal of her, but that is never going to happen with the current climate because, yeah,
We need a strong female character. We need a strong female character that need no man.
yeah, I it's so difficult to speak about the story, but without spoiling it. But yeah, just go read it. It's something else.
Song says Destroyer was a bad movie, but it's actually more in line with the stories. Matthew Flynn says Tentacles. Hope nobody got the anime girl treatment. Yeah, there was a scene in the 2011 movie where Conan goes to rescue generic generic damsel woman of the movie from this little tentacle monster thing. Like it was one of her executions. or something like that, or she got herself in a certain in some situation, and he had to fight a tentacle or at least an octopus monster. So like I said, it's kind of like a it kind of like tailors that Frazetta art. So if you were to look at Frank Frazetta's work, you can kind of see some stuff like that in his work in a way. So him fighting a tentacle monster would not be out of the ordinary. It was just bad in execution, though. Sadly, going to it says Ghostbusters 2 is a guilty pleasure. It's the first film, but it's fun to watch. It's the first film in reverse. That's what I like about it, in a way, or at least like certain things got rearranged to where it looks different enough. Plus, the first movie never had no slime river, so yeah, keep telling yourselves that it's the same movie. Brian Martin's going to. I actually had the soundtrack to Ghostbusters 2 on cassette when I was a kid. Oh, nice. And Matthew Flynn is cheering me up. He says, "Don't worry, Wolf. I like Ghostbusters 2." It's going to also content says, "I do feel that Ghostbusters 2 was trying to be the first film, but it's when it goes its own way does the creativity really shine." That is correct, sir. That is correct. You want me to add song to this stream? She has some very interesting things to say in the chat.
Sure, if she has the time, absolutely. That would be great.
Song, if you don't mind, you can find me. Where can I contact you in so I can shoot you the StreamYard link if you're willing to join us. I'll wait. I'll still read some comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, I lost my spot. Okay, I'm just gonna pick. Liz Harris says, "I hate Ma Hollywood. Your hatred knows no bounds." I love it. Big Al says, "Call movie gets hate, but it's no Red Sonja." Yeah, I still love Red Sonja as a guilty pleasure. Bridget Nielsen, to me, is still the definitive Red Sonja as of right now. I have not seen anybody who can actually replace Bridget Nielsen of that role. So as of right now, she's still my Red Sonja. Rose McGowan was slated to do a Red Sonja remake, and I would have loved to see her with the red hair and the string bikini and the chainmail bikini, but that didn't happen. So, and she's really getting past her prime to be doing that. And so far, the only person I can think of right now to do Red Sonja is Catherine Winnick from Vikings. Have you seen Vikings, Samuli?
Oh, yes, I have the first 5 seasons, as if I remember correctly.
So you know who I'm talking about, Legatha. Or at least you have some idea of who I'm talking about. Yeah, she'll be far. She'll be my pick for Red Sonja. If I were to do a remake to Red Sonja. Song says, "I eat, I slay, I love, I am content." Words to live by. That should be on a shirt. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. It's going to it says, Conan is the excuse me. Conan is the personification of individuality. He does not conform to social standards forced on him. Yeah, that's why I'm afraid of what Mon Hollywood would do if they ever got a hand on Conan. He'll be very a submissive man to a woman in the movie, and mind you, the woman will be the villainess, and yes, she'll be the good guy. While Conan, everything Conan do is bad, because man bad, man is always bad.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you
there's
agree?
the talk about this being a Netflix Conan story or Conan series. Yeah, that does not sound great in the least.
I'm just going by what their standards of how they write now, quote unquote write, because that's not good writing. That's never writing. I just know how they're gonna write Conan, especially if they get a woman to write it, a woman that don't know how to write men or thinks that she knows how to write men. Not saying that women can't write men or women are not allowed to write men or women are not good at writing men. What I'm saying is the pedigree of these quote unquote female writers have proven to me that they do not understand how men work. Like most women who are great writers understand how men work. And the song says, Zenobia's best Conan girl, fight me. You want to fight her? I want to fight her.
It is there's Zenobia and Baeliti. I mean, they are two very different characters. Yeah, yeah, exactly. As Songwright wrote in the chat that Baelite doesn't need a man, but she definitely wants Conan. I mean, like it's
Oh, they wouldn't.
it
They wouldn't
is
like that. They wouldn't like
no. I mean,
that.
but yeah, right in the story when they meet, not immediately, but I mean, what the scene ends up with is Zenobia literally throws herself at Conan, like yeah, like yeah, this is my man, basically, right on there, and yeah, Conan accepts quite willingly.
We have Song
Slight
with
correction,
us.
because Sam, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
I can hear you.
So, Sam, you said Zenobia throws herself at Conan, but it's
Oh
Belit.
yeah, so Bailey. Sorry,
I mean,
Bailey.
Zenobia throws herself
Yeah,
at him as well, because she's been longing for him for years since she first saw
yes,
him. But yeah, but Belit
yeah,
is much more overt about it.
yes,
I'm going to read
yes,
this line from
literally.
Samuli.
Yeah,
I'm going to read this line from Samuli. She was a slave and sorry,
Namibia.
let me try it again. Yeah, I was like, my brain kind of paused there. She was a slave in Numidia, but I will make her the queen of Aquilonia. I think I
Which,
pronounced that right.
yeah, which is what Conan says when Zenobia she was a consort to the king of Numidia. Not consort, but harem girl, basically concubine. And so, but she saved Conan's life. So out of gratitude, he frees her and makes her his queen. And like I said, Zenobia is best Conan girl. You can fight me on that.
Oh, I don't want to fight you. I'll take your word for it.
Belit
I'll
is
take your word
great,
for it on
but
that
she's
one.
also like Belit is great, but she's a total selfish brat, which is part of why I love her.
oh yes,
To the song herself, he says, "You're correct. Edward Rice Burroughs' Legend, The Princess of Mars, and subsequent sequels are fantastic." I'm still on the first book as of right now, in the Under the Moons of Mars, by the way, or Princess of Mars,
Princess of
wherever you.
Mars.
Yeah. Well, the books, the whole book I have, it says it's under one title, under the Moons of Mars, but it has Princess of Mars, uh, John Carter of Mars, and Warlord of Mars all together in one book. But I'm still on the first. I'm still on the first book right now. I'm slogging through it right now. Like Fire and Bloods is taking my attention, and I since put that aside to continue Berserk, the manga Berserk. If any of you guys ever heard of
yeah,
that.
yes, I have reading it currently. But yeah, where were we? About
I'm
still.
sorry to hear that song.
No, his sentences are awful. I love the audiobooks, but just I cannot read it because his sentences are endless.
Yeah, I have to agree
They
with
are.
you there. Because it's like there's no stopping.
Yeah.
He's got so much to say.
Yeah, the
And thank
second
you for
book
the correction there.
really had too much. Sorry, the second book really had too much
Hey,
stuff
I'm
put in.
not too
Unfortunately,
No, I'm on a stream talking about. Sorry.
It's okay.
yeah, it really.
Everybody okay?
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
What was that song?
My mom came in.
Oh, just like how my wife just stepped in and asked me a question.
Exactly.
Guess we have we have so much stuff going on on our end. It's fun when that happens in these streams.
Well, I mean, I didn't exactly
yes,
plan to come in, but you're talking about Conan, so. And like Sam
Well,
said, I'm the one who got him into all this.
yes, it's true.
well,
Definitely.
you're free, you guys are free to join us again anytime you like. You can follow me on MeWe, Minds. Still the same username, Wolf Media. If you guys are on Twitter, it's Dreadwolf Dreadwolf 1990. If you want to find me there as well, so shoot me a request and we can set it up. I'll set it up and we'll touch base on that. But yeah, I guess we got a lot of comments to get into, but we can get into those later. We can get back into to Conan. I know Samuel Lee has said what he said about Robert E. Howard and more. I'm pretty sure he wants to say more, but we got a song here, and let's hear
Yeah.
songs take on Howard's books.
Where do I even start? Howard is so underrated. It's such a pity that Burroughs and Lovecraft especially, and especially considering how controversial Lovecraft is, it's such a pity that he's still so prevalent. And like we find fancy leather-bound editions of Lovecraft at Barnes and Noble, but it's not that easy to find Howard, any of his writing, especially Conan. Now, Frazetta's art is not exactly accurate to the stories, but Frazetta's art is cool. But the Schwarzenegger movies really are what everyone thinks about when they think about Conan, which is so unfortunate because, like, you may have seen me go off in the chat when you said, "What is best in life?" It's not a Conan line. The line I quoted in the chat saying, "I eat, I slay, I love, I am content." It's what Conan tells Belit when they're talking about their philosophy. And that is Conan's philosophy. It's not crush your enemies, see them driven before you. He's not that big time. He's very small time. He's focused on himself and his own life, especially at that point. And so it's just, I eat, I slay, I love, I am content. And that's what he's good at in life. In the story Tower of the Elephant, sorry, I totally started a new sentence without breathing. In the story Tower of the Elephant.
That's why it's called Wolf Commander Rambles.
Well, in the story Tower of the Elephant, it's his first time in civilization after coming down from the north. And he goes and he sits in these, I almost want to say churches and temples, but it's not quite that. He sits and he listens to all these civilized philosophers. And after 3 days, he comes away going, these people are complete morons. They talk in circles and they know nothing. And, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm just going to go kill something.
Yeah, they are. yeah. He says that they must all. He came out with the realization that they must all be touched in the head. Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it now. If Arnold Schwarzenegger would have had to read that line, I'm just like, I would just be busting up laughing.
Yeah. why did they cast Schwarzenegger? I don't understand why they. I get that he was a big name at the time, but his limitations in English, which was part of why they went the way they did, it's just. It was horrible casting, and like I said, Momoa would have been so great
You're the
as
first
Conan.
person to say that.
Momoa would have been
Yeah.
great if they'd just given him decent material to work with.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger. I mean, he doesn't really look that much like Conan. Without the blue eyes and everything, yeah, it's kind of meh.
And
You guys are the first to say something different about the movies than most people that I know have seen.
well, that's because we read the books.
Obviously.
I didn't
You guys
really
are-
know about.
In
I
good
didn't know about
comparison. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Sammy, continue.
Yeah, I didn't really know about any of the how in name only the movies were until 2019 when I started reading the books. So yeah, lots of revelations, definitely.
So you guys are like me when it comes when people ask me about Jurassic Park nowadays. I say it's not the book, not nearly as accurate as the book, but it comes close. I prefer the book more so than the movie nowadays. Sacrilege.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they had done an even close, decent adaptation, sorry, that would be one thing. But like Sam said, it's completely name only,
hmm
and
I think a
it's
series would benefit it to get enough material out there.
yes. I mean, even if you just, because I mean, most of it is short stories. So, like, even if you broke it down into like short films, like Blaze Comics recently they've been adapting the stories into comics over in Europe. And recently they did The Frost Giant's Daughter and they expanded it into several issues. And I'm sitting there going, this is a one issue story. You do not need
It is.
anything more than one issue and just focus on the art. It's like my idea when I thought about like, okay, how would I do Conan movies? It was like, okay, do like a short film that's just like 10-15 minutes. That's The Frost Giant's Daughter and make that the introduction. Go all out with landscape shots and Conan running through the snow. And Sam, what's her name again?
Wait, was it? Wait, was it?
Atali?
Wait, I think I have it. Atali, yes, Atali.
Okay, and just like make her sexy with her hair blazing in the snow because she's a redhead. Worst Conan girl, worst Conan girl. She beats Hasmina. But hair in the snow. And
You guys are talking about Conan like he's James Bond at this point.
No,
well, he kind of. Okay, so here's the thing. So the stories, for the most part, were published in a magazine called Weird Tales. And Weird Tales, they wanted the scantily clad damsel in distress on the cover because that was what got people's attention. So if you had that in your story, and if that was what the publisher chose to have drawn for the cover, then you got a bonus. So Howard started putting all these scantily clad damsels in distress in his stories specifically so he could get that bonus, which is why Lovecraft once said Howard was better than any money-making scheme he could contrive, which was saying something coming from Lovecraft.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Colorful words to say about your friend.
Well, I mean, it was a compliment, and I believe it was something he wrote in Howard's obituary. But yeah, Howard structured a lot of his work based on what would make him money, which was why we got Conan instead of Kull, like I said.
Yeah.
He was still fantastic.
At the end of the day. Let's just say that he's a businessman at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to make money because I mean that's what he left Solomon Kane where he left him so he could write Conan. Yeah, that's which. Yeah, I understand that. I just regret. I just enjoy Solomon Kane so much. I just wish there were more stories to go into. But yeah,
Well,
Howard
that's
was in
also
a
why
very
that's also why there aren't more of those crusade stories you mentioned liking, is because he said if he could write anything, ideally it would be the historical stories, but they just didn't make
yeah
as much money.
yeah those are really good. But yes, yeah, Howard was in a. I haven't really touched much on his personal life, but I mean he was in a pretty bad spot for his whole of his brief life. I mean he committed suicide at the age of 30 after
Yikes.
his mother slipped into a coma permanently, basically, and he went out to his car after he got the. Yeah, they told him that yes, your mother is never going to wake up, and he went to his car and with his gun and shot himself there, and yes, that I forget what was his mother's condition that she suffered from.
I don't remember.
I forget. Yeah, but
I know his
she was.
Easy, guys.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Song.
His parents were separated, so his mother was really like the only person in his life, if I remember correctly. So when she went into the coma, also, Weird Tales owed him quite a bit of money that they were refusing to pay up, which I think is part of it.
Yes, they really screwed him over, which can't have helped much with his state of mind. Yes,
we have Damon X247 in the house, and he says the Crush Your Enemies line was taken from Genghis Khan. That sounds like
yes.
I think so. Yes.
Considering that man's career, sounds just like him. Considering that when we mentioned Khal Drogo and his Dothraki, I'm pretty sure it's common knowledge by this point. Everybody knows that they were inspired by the Mongols, and I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add to Conan, you guys?
Read it. Just
yes.
Yeah, the Del Rey collections are the best. They're the most accurate, and they're not tainted by other writers. Alice Brogdecamp.
Yeah,
they're not.
That's a whole other thing we could go into at length.
They're absolutely incredible. The man was a poet.
I do want to share my thoughts about Call the Conqueror. I did mention that one's a guilty pleasure of mine for obvious reasons. Well,
yeah, I used to watch the Adventure
that obvious reason is a Song one. I'm pretty sure Song knows who I'm talking about. I'm sure Song knows who I'm talking about when I mentioned that obvious reason. Tia Carrera.
Like I said, Cullen the book is, and Sam said it as well, Cullen the stories is asexual. So he has no interest in women. So it's like the moment you do that, and again, they referenced so many elements of By This Axe I Rule, which is the name of the story where that line comes from, of course. And they referenced so many elements of it. It's like, well, the romantic subplot in that story is a nobleman who's in love with a slave girl. So it's like, if you wanted your romantic subplot, you can just do that and let Cole go on his adventure.
She also quotes Star Wars. Empire. Sometime later in the movie. Did you ever catch that song?
I only watched it once. I could barely handle that much.
She goes on to say, "I'm merely altering the deal. Pray I don't alter any
Ah,
further." I was like, "Oh my goodness! Did you just quote Empire?"
Why?
That was, and it was so awkward too. How they just threw it in there too. They brought that they quote that line in so awkwardly. I was like, "Wow, somebody's a Star Wars fan."
yeah.
Okay.
Sounds bad. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Way to reference a much better movie in your crappy film. Yeah, always a good idea. I could be watching something much better right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I suffered through Cull. I
I almost,
and then
I almost feel like I need to watch this now to get some context, perhaps. When I have a day
you
and a
survived
few.
Solomon Kane. You would survive Cull.
Oh, is
yeah,
it?
push
Solomon
like
Kane
this.
was. Yeah.
Put it like this. I never thought a medieval sword and sandals movie would need such metal music playing in the background for its epic fight scenes. That was pretty interesting. And what was really interesting, that's the only beat that they had for those action scenes. And I mean, again, it worked for me somehow because me probably being into metal at the time, or at least I'm still am, but that was something. Really, that was really something because I mean, I was jamming to it. It, but like I said, the only thing that I liked about that movie was that final line that Kevin Sorbo gives when he takes the throne. He says, "You don't like it? Come take the throne." I was like, "Oh, that is so badass." Of course, this comes off the heels of that coin line. He says, "This is how barbarians fight."
Well, I mean, one thing about Cull, and the movie doesn't go into this. Cull was raised by wild tigers on
Oh wow.
Atlantis. And then he was exiled from Atlantis. I don't remember why. So he went wandering, and this is actually similar to Conan, and wandered around for a while until he worked his way up through the military ranks, staged a coup, took out the old king, and claimed the throne for himself.
Badass.
Yeah. And so Cole was raised by a wild tech. And again, like I said in the chat, how do you do a Cole movie without Brule? Which you could even give Brule the romantic subplot if you wanted. That would make more sense because Brule actually likes women.
Speaking of raised by animals, don't ever watch that Mowgli film with that was directed by apparently Andy Serkis. I think Andy Serkis directed that movie.
Netflix one, yes, I unfortunately already did.
I heard about it.
Wow.
But I've seen enough adaptations of Jungle Book. I didn't need to see another.
I just like that Russian animation one better. There's a Russian animated version called I think it's called Adventures of Mowgli or something like that. And animation on that one was spectacular, but it got enough it got enough out of the books to really give a proper adaptation. So but by then I was already aware that Mowgli does kill Shere Khan, but it was still an epic fight all the same. But that Mowgli one was like, I remember yesterday when I was in Cultural Fortress, I mentioned Primal, or at least I talked about Primal. Have you guys heard of that show, Primal?
Yeah, it's on Adult Swim, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So I mentioned about the violence in that one. I said it's violence with a purpose. It's a purpose for telling story or really give context to how unforgiving that world is in the world of Primal. Whereas in Mowgli, it's very gratuitous, especially what happens to his albino friend. I'm like, okay, do we really need to see this? Was this really necessary? The boy was already in the cage earlier. Now we need to see his friend die. Okay, I was nearly done at that point. But I had to finish it through. Because the movie intrigued me so much. I was like, of how terrible it was. I was like, I gotta see this through. I gotta see how this movie ends. Did you guys like the what year was that? The Jungle Book remake
The Disney
that
one?
yeah, the Disney one.
Yes. That one was actually
Which one? Sorry, which movie?
good. I really
The John
enjoyed that.
Favreau one, the one that was on Disney, the not the 98 one, live action.
2016, I think.
Probably
So,
2017, 2016.
Sorry,
No, actually, I think it was.
which movie?
Jungle Book.
It's a live action Jungle Book remake, and it
Oh,
is
yeah,
actually
yeah.
really good. John Favreau did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah,
with
I did
adapting
see it. Yes.
Yeah.
I know we're getting off topic, but that
Yeah, that's
here we
fine,
are,
that's fine.
but we're
No,
having fun. So
that Jungle Book and 2015 Cinderella were the best of the Disney remakes, and they should have just stopped after that.
yeah, I did not even see the Beauty and the Beast live action. I'm calling them
Don't.
live action. They're not live.
Yeah.
They're not remakes. They're live. If I would say this, my criteria of what makes a remake is if it was done as an adaptation, a live adaptation before, and then you're doing it again. And I
Okay,
would say
here's the thing. If you saw 2017 Beauty and the Beast, you would acknowledge, different medium or no, it is a remake because it's almost
Yeah.
shot for shot.
Yeah.
you have a point there. You have a point there.
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
If you
I never
wanna
thought
see
that way.
if I have to say to the whole Beauty and the Beast thing, if you want to see the best part of, or really the only really good part of the movie, watch the Dan Stevens plays the Beast, and watch his solo song
Nevermore.
at the. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, very good.
No, Dan Stevens, as I saw it twice in theaters. Please don't ask why. Long story. But the second time,
I feel sorry for you.
yeah, the second time I sat through like the first third of the movie going, okay, where is Dan Stevens? At this point, that is the only thing I care about in this movie. And I was just waiting for him to show up.
Yeah, to say the Samuli about watching it for Dan Stevens, I'm like, how about no? I cannot tolerate Emma Watson enough to get to Dan Stevens. I'm sorry.
No. Just watch Dan Stevens scenes, and he has a solo song called like "Forevermore" or "Nevermore" or something.
It's on
Evermore.
YouTube. It's on YouTube. You don't have to see Emma Watson.
Right. Because that girl's insufferable in real life. At this point,
agreed.
When she stand up on that pedestal, I'm like, girl, you was a little girl to me right now. You don't look like anybody important. Get off that pedestal. Go read Harry Potter again. Go. Ain't nobody got time to hear what you got to say about anything, you celebrity. Go. There. I stopped myself from going on a tangent. I finally caught myself.
Yeah. Well, I have to head out. Thank you for having me. I'm always happy to go off on Conan. But again, the one thing I would say is read the books. If all you've seen is the movies or even the TV show, you have no idea what you're missing. Howard's writing is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I plan to do that before my time comes. Of course, that's a bucket list right there.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you again for having me. And
so,
thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, this was great. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Let me read some comments before we get into Lovecraft, because I'm pretty sure everybody's been waiting for us to do that right now.
Yeah. Quite a few comments.
Yeah. Let me read. Yeah, let me read Melissa Harris. She said Nathan from Metalocalypse looks more Conan. He does.
I never watched the show myself. I know everyone says it's quite good, but yeah, I missed that.
Melissa Harris says, "Did you hear about Zack Snyder's rudeness to geeks and gamers? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. That here's the thing. Here's why I gotta give context as to why I say I don't care. Because if that man did not care, let's just say this: if that man is so zealous and overzealous enough to put Joker as a Jesus figure, considering the fact that his daughter took her own life, and I'm pretty sure he attended to her funeral, he should have way more respect for religion. After that, he should have at least way more respect for religious figures after that ordeal. So for him to disregard that, and I will say this is an assumption on my part that he had to have attended to his daughter's funeral, and now seem to have no respect for religion for that matter. I'm like, bro, you just had a death in the family, and you're gonna do that. So at this point, I'm like, I don't give a damn what he's talking about or who he insult or what he has to say, because he has no respect for any religion of any kind at this point, considering that he had a death in the family. So I'm like, I don't care. That man, that like the man could have stomach cancer and I wouldn't care at this point. That's I will say this: every life has a right to live, even criminals that done the most heinous of crimes. Let me throw that out there right now. Let me throw that out there right now. Everybody has a right to a life, even criminals that done terrible things. Now, it is rare when I say that about somebody. If a man gets something, I wouldn't care, or if a woman gets something, I wouldn't care. It is rare when I say that, and this is one of those rare moments. You want to say something, Samuli?
Not really. Only thing I want to say is that I really I didn't pay any attention really to the whole thing as a whole, like the whole anything to do with modern Hollywood or the antics of people in there. I mean, it is nothing but a endless time sink, and I have burned enough of my life, even pontificating on any of it. So that is all I have to say to that.
Right. Matthew Flynn says Conan the Destroyer looks like the Diablo 2 barbarian. I have to agree there, even though I don't play Diablo.
Yeah, I played the first two games, and no, actually, I played all three first games. Yes, yeah, I guess he kind of does. Yeah.
Schooner Tuna says, I did not know that about Robert E. Howard. Poor guy. I didn't know that too until you guys discussed that. You and Song.
Yes. Yeah, it was when I found out that like in 2019, yeah, he was younger than me when he killed himself. Yeah, that kind of shook me a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you see the pictures of him, he looks much older than 30, but yeah, very short life.
Mm-hmm. Schooner Tuna also says, still, if I could have a legacy as an author, I would want a Howard and Lovecraft legacy. You gotta do your best, man. Do your best to make your stories legendary.
Yes, it's
now
unfortunately,
mind you,
I have to say it about the whole Howard and Lovecraft legacy that should keep in mind that both authors died. Yeah, I mean, yeah, quite. I mean, they never got any real recognition during their lifetimes, and like I said in the chat, that Lovecraft also, he died penniless with cancer in a hotel. I think he died in a hotel room. But yeah, I mean, but
yikes.
very quite tragic ends for both people. So yeah, it's the classic or tragic author story. Yeah, dying penniless without any fame, and you only become famous long after your departure from this life. So I hope any aspiring author gets a better life than those two, because they are rough.
Melissa Harris says, "I'm sorry if I pissed off Mr. Matchstick. It's just I was trying not to hurt his and the professor's feelings. That's why I tried to go to both streams." I don't think you did anything wrong there, Melissa. If you have to dip in and out of streams, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that. The thing is that, and I've said this too in my in many of my streams back then. Hey, you are not. Look, it's good that you show up, but you are by no means obligated to stay. If you have to leave, you have every right to leave. You know what I'm saying? I will not hold it against you at all. I'm sure Matchstick will not hold it against you either. He's a chill guy, all things considered, consider his crassness, you know. But other than that, like, guys, this goes for everybody. You are not obligated to stay this long in the stream. You are a human being, not a slave. Okay? So make no mistake, Melissa, it's always a pleasure to have you in these streams, but you are by no means obligated to stay. It's good that you stay, but you're not obligated. So if you have to leave, you have every right to leave. That goes for everybody. If you have to leave, you have every right to leave. That is your right. You are a free person. And I always respect a person's freedom above all else. Except for the ones that try to trade servitude and call it freedom. We live in a backwards country here, Samuli. I'm pretty sure you're caught up on the uptake on everything America's happening.
I don't really want to go too deep into it, but go ahead. Sorry.
If I had to ask, where you live again?
Finland, same as Joni.
Oh, that's, oh my goodness! All this time I've been pronouncing it wrong, Joni.
Yeah, Joni. Yeah, that's how you say it.
Now I feel embarrassed now.
Don't be honestly.
I know.
Really, yeah.
I kind of figured it would have been Yoni. But you know what's funny? He never said that to me in the back room before we did his stream on Sunday. He never told me that.
He's polite.
Yeah, that is true of him. Brian Gilmar said, I steadfastly refuse to see the live action Disney remakes, and nobody's holding a gun to you. You have every right to refuse. That's your right, buddy. Matthew Flynn says, every time someone brings up the Lovecraft racist, they also want to make money off his name. That is so true. Yeah, they want to make money off of. They're trying to make money off of hate. That's what they're doing. They make money off of hate. So any person, put it like this. This is for everybody. Everybody in this chat and as well for you, Samuli. Let somebody hear something bad about you. They want to turn that into a story so they can make money off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could be famous or non-famous. If they hear something bad about you, they will do everything in their power to talk about it. Ain't that terrible?
Yeah. Unfortunate.
So I have every message. I have a message to these troglodytes. I want to say something bad about me. If you Okay, I remember the line now. If you ain't gonna do me right, I just might do you in. Ain't a sin. That's a song, by the way.
Oh yeah, I think you've mentioned that before.
Did I sing it before?
Yeah. You
Oh,
might have. Yeah.
something
But
along those lines.
yeah.
You know that I'm just saying that's a fair warning to anybody who tries to do it, say anything bad about me, find anything bad to smear me. I'm like, okay, get ready for egg in your face, buddy. Daniel Damien X 24/7 says Marvel's Savage Avengers should have focused on King Conan instead of young Conan. An older, wiser, but still brutal Conan clad in Aquilonian armor would have been epic. I agree. Melissa Harris says, I refuse to watch live action Disney films, and that garbage Once Upon a Time ruined Dorothy Gale and Alice. I will take your word for it because me and my wife had quit that show after a while. Well, a combination of me not being interested anymore and her just not caring anymore and just went on to other stuff. Now she knew that there was something else that she can watch that she likes on Netflix. So, yeah. She also says that Full Moon Features did H.P. Lovecraft adaptations.
Yeah, this is a kind of good point to get into Lovecraft. Lovecraft is pretty much next to impossible to adapt well on film since, well, at least the Cthulhu stories, they deal with horror that it's unimaginable, or it's too much for the human mind. The creatures and sights human mind simply cannot comprehend, and it drives you insane or kills you from terror right on the spot. So it's how do you describe, or how do you put the film something that you cannot describe? I mean, it's not, as soon as you give it actual form as some kind of monster or something that human mind can comprehend, I mean, that defeats the point of the whole thing, really. So it's same goes for video games and other such comics, or it's really not something you can do well. I mean, I know that apparently the Nicolas Cage starred Color Out of Space. That one was really good. People say that they did supposedly quite well the whole the color from out of space that's in the story. They did it quite well from what I hear. People really like the movie, but otherwise it's really difficult to do Lovecraft on a movie.
Yeah. Now I will say you can do Lovecraft light.
Yeah.
Really well. And I really gravitate towards those that are Lovecraft light, not a strictly adaptation of a Lovecraft story. I tend to gravitate toward those types of movies, like The Void. Have you heard of The Void?
I've heard of it, but yeah, I never seen it.
I just recently watched Attack the Block, and I can almost say that movie was boring on a bit of Lovecraft too. Have you heard of Attack the Block?
I did see it. Yes, I like it quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that movie kind of borders on, like I'm putting that on my list of movies that I call Lovecraft light, because the aliens are indescribable. They don't really describe them that much. Other than they slightly give them a motive as to why they're attacking, but they're still indescribable. Even I mean, they could kind of they do kind of assign a bit of known features like gorilla wolves. They call them gorilla wolves, but still they can still be classified as indescribable. Even one of the characters, I think it was Pest or or what's his name? One of Moses' friends touched the thing, and like there's still there's no effect to his hand, but like the way how they did that shot was very well shot. The more they touch the fur, it's like the fur is engulfing his hand, like it's ready to eat his hand. You know,
Oh,
and in that instance, when he touched that alien's body, I thought something bad was going to happen to him in that instance, and I was relieved when nothing did. But like, bruh, when he put his hand up, I was like, bruh, it's been a long time since I ever came across a horror movie that gave me that sense of dread. Like, oh my god, I hope nothing
yeah,
happens to him when he touches that
that's
thing.
yeah, doesn't happen very often anymore.
Another one I like to say, Annihilation. Have you heard of Annihilation?
I did see it. Yes, it was interesting for the most part. Yeah.
Hmm. It's not for everyone, I know that, but I put that on my list of Lovecraft light stories. Even though that movie is also based off a book of the same name, I believe. I think it's the same. I think it has the same name. But me and my wife saw that. I think that's where she hit her limit on watching horror movies. Because ever since after we saw that movie, she's been kind of a bit refusal to watch anything horror related with me now.
Oh,
So I think right after we saw Annihilation, that like yeah, she was like, yep, that's it. I'm not watching anymore. Like every time I watch it, I get heart palpitations or something like. She described it as her chest be hurting. I was like, okay, we're not watching horror movies anymore.
that's hard.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
rough. Wow.
Yeah, me, it's like I'm very picky with my horror. I have to have like my kind of horror. What really sells me on the horror is that if it's horror that sticks that sticks with you like to the end of your days when you think about that moment and you still dread, like The Thing, or in the same case the bear scene with Annihilation, or in the case of Lovecraft when you hear hear the either hear it if you're watching the watching if you're listening audioly
Yeah,
from
it's
from the audio, it sticks with you
absolutely.
when you hear that description or hear anything that's indescribable. And that's what sold me. That's what sells me about Lovecraft or Lovecraft light films.
It's when it comes to Lovecraft, I mean, really helped me realize that a lot of the times the best horror movie is the one that plays inside your head when you're reading or listening to these stories. Really, it's like we discussed the other Dunwich horror. That's a really good one. Absolutely,
Yeah,
listened.
let's talk about that right now. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah, I've read it a couple of times and I've listened to the audio 4 times now, I think. So yeah, definitely one of the better ones, really.
yeah, man, that the way how they describe Whatley's body, man, that's like whoa, just see. Speaking of indescribable, I can barely describe it, right?
Yeah, I mean Lovecraft did it really well there like with that. Yeah, it's hard to even the people witnessing the whole thing. I mean, it's so out of this world, the whole what he is, what he was, and what's left of him. Yeah, nothing really that can be put to words. But it sounds. Me describing it doesn't do it justice the way Lovecraft tells things in his tales, but it's really you really get the feeling that something is not of this earth. This was never meant for human eyes to see, and it's going to leave a lasting effect on whoever. If you don't die outright of pure terror, it's something that's going to make you are never going to sleep soundly ever again, knowing that there is something like that out there, and that this whole human existence, it's such a minuscule thing. We are so insignificant to anything, to what is out there. It's going to haunt you for the rest of your days.
And you don't have to go in order on talking about Lovecraft. Go nuts. Just go nuts.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stories, there are some mentions, reference to a few others, like Shadow or Innsmouth. I mean, Innsmouth gets mentioned in a few other stories, that the town of Innsmouth. I mean, like there's the other story, like I don't know if you've read or listened to Dreams in the Witch House. You don't? Doesn't ring a bell?
No, sorry.
Oh yeah, and then there's that's a really there's not really a bad Cthulhu Lovecraft story, but the other one is The Thing on the Doorstep. Absolutely one of my favorites as well. It's a bit of a shorter tale, but everybody talks about Color Out of Space and At the Mountains of Madness and Shadow or Innsmouth, but there's then there's with the Whisper in the Darkness. Yeah, that's another really great one as well.
That's gonna be my next to listen to if I get a chance. I definitely will check out Whisper in the Darkness.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah, it's really the sense of escalating dread and danger. Yeah, that's one of the better ones there. It's these two guys having a exchange of letters, basically back and forth. When can't say too much about without spoiling it, but it's
that's
yes.
I will say is I'm usually always a stickler for spoilers that like if you spoil something, I'm willing to check it out either way, because witnessing it is totally different than just being spoiled by it. Because even if you spoil it, it's like now you make me want to witness it. But in the case of Lovecraft, I can't do that. Same thing with Ito. Have you heard of Junji Ito?
Yeah, I haven't read his works yet. I really should though, but yes, I know the name.
If you want me to recommend you, I can recommend you ones that you check out. You kind of going staggy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it any better now?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I have with Junji Ito. Yeah, I've gotten several recommendations to what stories check out. But I mean, just general recommendation has been that I should absolutely read his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you probably gotten the Uzumaki recommendation.
Yes.
That series is freaky. Like big, big freaky. Like if you really want to see something that's like Lovecraft inspired, definitely check out Uzumaki.
If I want to see some really terrible body horror, that's Junji Ito has me covered. Yeah, that I've seen enough pictures to know what he loves to do. Yeah,
what he's capable of. Gyo's another one. I haven't finished the manga, but I have watched the movie adaptation. The movie adaptation diverges differently than the manga. I will say that. Have you seen the anime Gyo?
No, I haven't. Yeah. No.
Yeah, Yeah, just letting you know the anime movie is different than the manga because the manga and anime they switch protagonists in that one. In the manga, it's mostly focused on the boyfriend. In the anime, it's focused on the girlfriend. If you know the protagonist of Gyo, it's the girlfriend and the boyfriend. I can't say their names because I don't remember them, so I just call them
I,
girlfriend and
yeah,
boyfriend.
I don't really know anything about it, but yeah.
Yeah, it switched protagonists, and I gotta say that because that's not necessarily a spoiler in that front. So it's a different protagonist in the anime than in the manga. Yeah, Brian, mixed thing. Yeah, the anime it's hit or miss. It's very hit or miss in that regard. Though I do like the changes though, some of the changes in the anime. So I still, like I said, I still gotta finish the manga. But yeah, another one is the Tomie series. If you heard of Tomie, Tomei,
Yeah, I have. Yes.
that bitch is crazy. Excuse me, everybody.
I know what the deal. I know what the plot is.
The premise.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the premise.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still need to get into Freaking Fran. Freaking Fran is another one. Well, it's not Lovecraft light. It's dark humor though. Kind of like I like to describe Freaking Fran as like what if the Addams family got very brutal with their dark humor. That's how I like to describe Freaking Fran. Because I'm pretty sure you know the premise of Freaking Fran, right?
I don't
Or have you
quite
heard of
remember. I've heard of it, yes, but not. I don't remember exactly what it was about.
So Freaking Fran centers around Frankenstein's quote unquote daughter, Fran.
Oh, okay. Now I remember.
Yeah, she's a surgeon. Yeah, she's a surgeon, and everybody comes to her for help about things like surgery things, right? And she's basically like a rabbit's. She's not a rabbit, so she's a monkey's paw wish granter in a way. When it comes to performing her surgery skills on them, and like I said, it's a lot of dark humor in that regard. And like that's why I like to call it Addams Family if it actually was allowed to be brutal in its dark humor, starring Frankenstein's daughter.
Yeah, might be interesting for me to check that out. Yes, at some point. I have so much stuff on my reading list, like regular books and mostly manga now these days that I read. But yeah, it doesn't sound like half bad idea to look into. Yeah, and going back a bit to Lovecraft. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Going a bit back into Lovecraft, have you seen the Reanimator movie?
I've been wanting to. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know that the Reanimator movie was based on the same, based on a Lovecraft story. But I mean, yeah, it was interesting to learn about it. I've seen the movie only once several years ago. I recall it being quite entertaining, but I mean, I recently only read the original story, and I mean, goes without saying that the original story is much less humorous than the movie is. I mean, Jeffrey Combs plays Herbert West, the titular reanimator in the movie, and Jeffrey Combs is always entertaining. But yeah, the original story is much more
serious.
bleak and grim. Yeah, absolutely. But it was still fun to not fun, but quite creepy to read through. I mean, the way they describe his experiments, yeah, it's pretty harrowing. But interestingly enough, Reanimator was Lovecraft's his least favorite story. Yeah, so he kind of, as if I understood it correctly, he kind of regretted or disowned it afterwards. He wanted to try a bit more regular horror, traditional horror with stuff like Reanimator, but yeah, he didn't care much for it afterwards.
I still need to check out Videodrome too.
I haven't seen that one either. No. And I need to say also that was Lovecraft's least favorite story, but his Color Out of Space is his personal favorite story, which I can see why. It's it's special kind of creepy. The whole, again, you can't escape. Yeah, you can't escape the terrible influence. It's everywhere. It's all around you. I mean, you can't fight it. It's going to get you, really. So that's really, really quite some. Again, you can't get. I have to underline this. You cannot get the Lovecraft experience any other way than to read his stories.
Yep. It's a shame that people try to imitate that, and they tend to get various results when they attempt to do that. Stephen King come to mind.
Yeah, I've read very little of King, to be honest. So I've heard people say that he ripped off Lovecraft or imitated him quite a bit, but I can't speak from experience. So
yeah, varying success, yes, but ultimately some of his books are just like, what the hell, Stephen? What are you thinking? Sleepwalkers.
People say that he's a terrible. He's terrible when it comes to long stories, but he's really good with short stories. But he really likes writing those really long books, from what I understand.
Yeah, definitely check out the Miss novella that he wrote, and definitely check out the movie. The movie is really good. Have you seen The Mist?
I did. Yeah, I saw the one with Thomas Jane. Yeah, it's
freaky stuff, man.
Yeah, it was.
Don't ever watch the series though. There's a series out. Don't watch that. Terrible.
No, wait. Oh yeah, I did see it. Yeah, unfortunately,
you poor man.
Yeah,
you poor man.
It was It was a Netflix show. I should have known.
Mm-hmm. It had potential though. That's the problem. It had potential. The only problem I had, the main issue I had with that show was the fact that they couldn't stay in one location. They kept moving elsewhere, and I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I want to stay with the convenience store. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the only reason why The Mist works so well, because it's only taking place in one location. Two locations if you bring up the pharmacy they go into to get medicine for one of their crew. But still, it's taking place in one location, and you go to The Mist to watch them be stuck at a convenience store, not focus on some characters that are running around elsewhere, knowing full well that there are a lot of monstrosities out there ready to snatch them up. And that's the only reason why. Again, it's so effective, because the moment you step outside, you are going to die, or at least if you're not the main characters, you'll somehow live through it, but you'll be scarred for life, or worse, you'll be wounded and scarred for life. Either way,
Yeah.
something bad will happen to you, or at least if you're lucky enough. Again, you have the mental scarring too. But other than that, like that show was a waste of time and a waste of money on their part for making it. Schooner Twin says Rick Sanchez can defeat Cthulhu. Rick and Morty. If you're not in the know,
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean that show had its good parts, but yeah, at this point, I have no interest in going back into it. It kind of got my fill.
mm-hmm.
And also, random thing to say that kind of Cthulhu really only shows up in one Lovecraft story. I mean, it's really. I mean, I don't. It gets thrown around a lot. I mean, the name, but I mean, it's only that one appearance. And yeah,
he's only one out of a whole.
Yeah, there's so much more than Cthulhu. Yeah,
I think the only one that gets the most movement is Shub-Niggurath, I believe.
Yes. The goat with 1,000 young. But everybody always just like with Howard, it's all about Conan pretty much, and with Lovecraft, everybody just keeps on banging about Cthulhu. Yeah, basically all the time. Yeah, it's everything is Cthulhu, but it's so much more than that. But that's random tangent to go on. But yeah, that felt like I had to say that.
Mm-hmm. But it's truth in that tangent, though.
Yeah, it's absolutely the truth. But I mean, it's.
But the only reason why, because Cthulhu is iconic. His design is iconic, and that's why they tend to throw him around so much because of such an iconic design. Granted, you look at the picture. I mean, it doesn't really make you go mad or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure if you can stand in real life in front of Cthulhu, yeah, you would go mad. Worse, you could be his lunch.
Yeah, but the whole tentacle thing connected to Lovecraft, it's really
You're fading in and out, Samuli.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's the whole tentacle thing that's connected to Lovecraft. It's really overdone too. I mean, the whole. I mean, how should I put this? I mean, it's Cthulhu and tentacles this and tentacles that. I mean, it's really.
He would do well writing a hentai.
I've heard so many. Yeah, the jokes. Yeah, there's so many jokes, of course, about that. But really, it's it's so one-sided with so many of these great stories and great books, and
even more one-sided. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, no, just saying it's really worth digging deeper with this and just seeing what the real deal is, because you never get a good picture from the media or from any modern takes or anything like that.
Another one-sided thing is the fact that people keep bringing up the fact that he had very racist ideas or very racial connotations in his books, possible racial connotations about his books.
Yeah, he has.
I think it's. Go ahead.
I am just really beyond caring about any of it. Really, just.
I never cared myself, and apparently I'm supposed to hate the man. That's the thing. I'm like, I don't even care the fact that the man was racist. I nearly got into I nearly got into a fight with somebody on Twitter about the man. Me being the defender, by the way,
Yeah.
of all people. And I said this too because I made this proclamation in a Twitter thread. I said, but here's the thing: he had racial ideas. Did he outright go and lynch somebody? Did he actually go outright and shot somebody because of their race? Did he burn somebody because of their race? If he did neither of them things, you cannot hate the man. He had racist ideas, or at least racial views towards other people. So I can feel comfortable reading his books, so long as he didn't do anything wrong, like outright physically did anything wrong to somebody. I can comfortably read his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, all he did was he had these ideas and he used he was scared and he had phobias about so many things, but he took that inner turmoil and those phobias and he turned them into some truly excellent and memorable tales. And yeah, that's really all there
Now
is
that
to
you
it.
bring that up,
That's all there.
sorry, now that you bring that up, could a phobia be attributed as racism? I don't think so. I don't think the man was racist. I think the man was just very fearful of people. He was antisocial, of course, but like everybody wants to assert a term on somebody without actually looking at the full context to really make a complete judgment call on that. They just want to lynch somebody, for lack of a better term. They rather have a pickaxe and torches.
Yeah. At this point, anyone really tries to challenge me or try to justify me enjoying anything that I read or anything like that. It's I refuse to play that game anymore. I mean, I'm through trying to play with other people's rules as to what I read and what I should enjoy and such. It's to play the best way to play it is not to play at all. So that's all I have to
That's
put.
what I've been thinking this whole time for months now. I think that's the best victory you could have on them, because they expect you to play, but then when you walk away, they're like, "Wait, where you going?" I'm not gonna play your game, but you have to. No, I don't. What law says I have to?
Nothing. No law. Yes.
Okay, Matthew Flynn has this question, and I want to answer it so bad. And he asks, "The Mist ending, book or movie?" I mainly prefer the movie's ending because it really hits that emotional core. So I'll go with the movie's ending, but I am partial to the book's ending because it does have that nice happy ending, or at least that unknown ending, so to speak. But if I had to choose, like specifically choose, I go with the movie ending because it leaves you questioning humanity on that at that point. Whereas the book ending gives you satisfaction. So that's why I prefer movie endings more than the book's ending when it comes to The Mist. And yes, Brian Gilmore, you asked that question. Yes, he did renounce it later in life, and it's sad too that something else happened partially after he renounced that. His wife helped him get through a lot of stuff in his life, so you know.
Yeah, it's I mean, again, going back to the whole, I wanted to be the next Lovecraft or Howard. Yeah, I be careful what you wish for. Their path was not very pleasant at all.
Hmm. Be like for anybody who has phobias and social awkwardness, be like Lovecraft. Be productive.
Well, he certainly was productive. Yes, I have enjoyed reading his non-Cthulhu stories, but I still have many to go through. Uh, oh yeah, I have more to read than I have gone through. Yes, some of the earlier stories, like the one he wrote when he was quite young, it was interesting to see his development. But those are they are quite basic and wouldn't call them great, but it's important to get the full picture on how he came to develop himself.
What'd you think about the about John Carpenter's movies?
Uh, I haven't seen nearly all of them. I think there's quite a few I've missed, but generally yes, I do think he's quite a great director. Yes.
So which ones did you see?
Aside from The Thing, there's there's the one. Wait. Was it? Of course, Big Trouble in. Wait, I'm blanking on the name. Big Trouble in Little.
Little China.
Yeah. Damn, how could I? Oh yeah, I'm really must be getting quite tired here. But yeah, I mean that one, yes, of course, and he's done so much. I mean,
So there's The Thing. There's the Big Trouble in Little China. There's The Mouth of Madness.
oh yeah, Tim. Yeah, that was yeah. Sam Neill. Yeah, that's really good.
Yep.
I like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did the Escape from New York, Escape from L.A.
Liked it. I haven't seen Escape from LA though. Yeah, never.
It's more like the same thing, but like I said about Conan the Destroyer, it's Saturday morning ish.
Yeah, I've heard stories about it. Yeah, people talking about it.
I still love it dearly though.
I did watch last year. I did watch the memoirs of an invisible man with Chevy Chase in the lead. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was full on comedy, and I understand that he did it as an. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his own project. He did it It was a bit of work for him, but he didn't half-ass it. So it seems. I had an okay time with it. What else has he done? I'm really blanking here.
He's done a lot of stuff that even we didn't know he did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the chat will help us out in that regard, hopefully. Let's see if they did. Oh, we'll wait. I think that's all I can say about Lovecraft for now until I start seeing more books.
Yeah, it's. Did you say that the Whisperer in the Darkness is next for you, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Horror Babble is done a lot of audios, so I'm already subscribed to him.
Oh yeah, I listen to pretty much all my Lovecraft readings are from audios are from Horror Babble. Yeah, he's Ian Gordon. He has such a great voice for the Lovecraft tales. Yeah, next for me with the non-Cthulhu Lovecraft is from. I just got done with Beneath the Pyramids. Next one is from Beyond. And then there's Case of Charles Dexter Ward, Horror at Red Hook, and Pigman's Model. I think in that order. But yeah, the Case of Charles Dexter Ward, it's really famous. I look forward to seeing how that one holds up from what I've heard. By the way, so you're listening to the audios, right? You don't have the books.
No, I don't have no books.
Okay.
I still need to continue 1984.
Oh,
as
okay.
well. Yeah, I was saying I still got to finish 1984. I think I'm on chapter 7 in that regard. I'm doing the audio as well on that one.
Yeah, that's definitely a book everyone should read or listen to, whichever you prefer. But yes, experience it. Oh yeah, there's still. I mean, there is. There's. I almost feel like there should be some follow-up stream, perhaps, to if you have the time, to both Lovecraft and Howard. If you ever feel like doing another one.
Oh no, definitely. Do you want to stop now? Because we can end the stream here since we have nothing really to say. Other than we can get into the fun talk section of this one. This will probably be the shortest stream we have today.
It is. It's. I'm kind of. It's getting. Well, it's not super late. It's midnight here right now, but I'm kind of getting a bit cloud.
Okay.
Maybe I can keep talking.
You're winding down.
Winding down a little bit. So we can continue with other stuff. That's fine with me.
All right, then let me address what's going to be happening so far. WCR. So next week we'll be talking about on Tuesday our favorite male characters and designs, and on Thursday we will now cover an interesting, serious topic. Is it representation or social validation? So we'll be talking about representation in the media, and we'll be talking about why people keep demanding representation in the media when we already have enough representation in the media. All you gotta do is keep contributing, and I also will be discussing as to how we got the representation in the first place next week on Thursday. So guys, tune in for that one. I don't know who's gonna be joining me for that one. Anybody can message me on MeWe to be part of that, or on Minds, or on not Facebook. Yeah, on Facebook. You guys know who I am on Facebook. And what else? Twitter. So we'll be talking about representation next weekend. We'll be talking about our favorite male characters in media, superheroes, video game characters, movies, whatever. Later on today, on Thursday, today of Thursday, the continued book study of Star Wars Red Harvest with Professor and Big Al. Tomorrow, Troy will be doing a rewatch of the Wolfman 2010, and we'll be discussing our alterations and what would we do better if we were writing that movie for the Dark Universe. Our proposed rewrite of the Dark Universe. Also, Green Lion Girl will be doing the OG Final Fantasy stream as well. Saturday we will have Ma Pacelli doing A Few Good Men rewatch. Sunday, we have the Geeky Geezers with Troy Pacelli and H Boomer, and later on that night, we, H Boomer, Troy Pacelli, and Mr. Matchstick, myself included, will be doing a rewatch of the first 3 episodes of Venture Brothers on Saturday. Sorry, Sunday. Monday will be Monday Night Muse Sound Engravers. Check out her stuff on Mondays. She has interesting stuff to say about art and music. And that's all I have for now. We still got the voice. I'm not sure how far into Dawn Treader the professor and Al has in the on Tuesday, but that's still happening, I believe. Wednesday, Green is still doing the remake of Final Fantasy VII, Songs of Birdman with Dan Herron and whoever, H Boomer or Big Al, or maybe somebody else who's a guest star in it. So I would like to thank Samuli Olki for joining me today,
Yes.
and his friend Song for also joining in to share her love and passion of Conan and Robert E. Howard. And sadly, she wasn't able to stick around for us to talk about Lovecraft, but I'm glad that she joined us on short notice. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today as well and giving us your thoughts on Conan and Lovecraft. So sign us out, Samuli Olki. Sorry.
It's fine.
I'll get that name right. I'll get that name right. Names are important. But go ahead and sign us out.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. It was really fun to just come on and have a nice, relaxed talk. It was kind of a new thing for me to just hop on and talk at length about this stuff. But yeah, I think this went quite well, really. And yeah, I will be glad to continue this some other time when we can schedule it. But yes, this was very refreshing. And yes, please do give these stories and authors a look. It's absolutely changed quite a bit of how I view literature when I actually got into looking into it myself. So, but that's all I have to say for now. And thank you for having me.
Oh, definitely. It's a pleasure. As always, the Wolf Commander Rambles is not always just about talking about serious topics. We do talk about fun stuff and things that we enjoy as well. So anybody who like to talk about a passion, talk about a project, talk about anything fandom, geek related, anything, always message me. Don't be shy, guys. I don't bite. You know me. I don't bite, even though I'm a werewolf. But this has been your Wolf Commander. It's been Samuli Olki. It's been WCR. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy. Ow!